Madam Speaker, members opposite can ask me any number of questions.
The government's post-budget bump up in the polls appears to be just that, a bump.
Look, if this one's right, and if this is sort of more in tune with the other polls, this sort of number, it shows that people still really haven't flocked back to this government since its first budget. You know, there's been periods where they've come back and had a look and stepped back again and so forth, but on a trend basis, there's still a fair bit of work for this government to do if it's going to, win the next election.
The Coalition's primary vote has dropped 3 points to 40% since May, and Labor's has increased 2 points to 37%. Distribute preferences, and that gives Labor 53% of the vote, up 3 points, with the Coalition sliding to 47%, down 3 points, in keeping with the trend seen during the past 9 months or so. Does this spell problems for the government?
It could. I mean, it depends if they hold their nerve. I mean, if we have 2 or 3 more like this, if we're still polling these numbers by the, say, 3/4 of the way through this calendar year, well, that threat that was issued against Abbott back in February, that unless you get the polls back, to 51-49 by September, October, that threat may be carried out, and that is in the form of they may revisit the leadership again. But look, it's all a bit speculative, but it's certainly a set of numbers they don't want at the moment.
Neither Tony Abbott nor Bill Shorten are winning over voters. Tony Abbott's net approval rating, -14, fell 6 points in a month. Bill Shorten's fell to -6, down 2 points. If voters were forced to choose between them, 41% preferred Tony Abbott as Prime Minister, down 3 points in a month, while 42% prefer Bill Shorten, up 3 points and back in front, if only by the slimmest margin.
The net approval is probably just a reflection on no one really likes either of them that much. But look, opposition leaders aren't supposed to be ahead of Prime Ministers, preferred Prime Ministers, not in a first term if a Prime Minister's doing well. So, and they're always meant to have a higher disapproval rating than an approval rating because their job is primarily whinging and saying no. So the fact that Shorten's in the same ballpark than Abbott, and in some cases ahead of him, again, is probably more a reflection on how poorly the Prime Minister's doing personally than Shorten. Shorten's doing pretty well by comparison, even though he gets pilloried a lot out there and so forth. He's still doing all right.